Part 2. Uprooting and Replanting, the Vedic Way. Chapter 3. The Power of Divine Truth, Scriptures and Transcendental Sound. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas am I to be known, indeed I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. From mental weeds to spiritual gardens. Picture your mind as a garden that's been neglected for years. Weeds of worry, fear, and negativity have taken over. The soil is contaminated with old hurts and limiting beliefs. What would it take to transform this overgrown mess into a beautiful, peaceful sanctuary? This is exactly the challenge Max Lucado addresses in his Uproot and Replant strategy. He recognizes that it's not enough to simply pull out the mental weeds, those UFOs we discussed in Chapter 2. If you just create empty space, new weeds will inevitably grow back. Instead, you need to actively plant something better, God's truth, that will eventually crowd out the destructive thought patterns. Lucado encourages Christians to meditate on Scripture, letting divine truth gradually replace lies with reality, fear with faith, and despair with hope. It's like replacing a corrupted hard drive with clean software that actually works. The ancient Bhagavad Gita offers a remarkably similar approach but with even more detailed instructions on how this replanting process works. Both traditions agree on a fundamental principle: lasting transformation happens when we replace false perceptions with divine truth, but the source and method of accessing that truth matters enormously. Why human knowledge falls short. Here's something that might surprise you. According to the Bhagavad Gita, human beings are inherently handicapped when it comes to understanding ultimate truth. This isn't meant to insult our intelligence, it's just recognizing our built-in limitations. The ancient text identifies 4 fundamental defects that affect every human being. We're guaranteed to make mistakes, even experts get things wrong. We're inevitably influenced by illusions, our perceptions can be completely off. We have a tendency to deceive others, and ourselves. Our senses are imperfect, we can only perceive a tiny fraction of reality. Think about it. If you're wearing colored glasses, everything you see will be tinted. If your measuring instruments are faulty, all your calculations will be wrong. This is why the Bhagavad Gita suggests that perfect knowledge can't come from imperfect sources, it has to descend from a perfect source. The concept of revealed knowledge. This brings us to one of the most important concepts in spiritual life, the difference between discovered knowledge and revealed knowledge. Discovered knowledge is what we figure out through research, experimentation, and reasoning. It's incredibly useful for understanding the material world, but it has inherent limitations because it's filtered through our imperfect senses and potentially biased thinking. Revealed knowledge, on the other hand, comes from a perfect source and is transmitted through what's called disciplic succession. An unbroken chain of qualified teachers who pass on the knowledge without adding their own interpretations or distortions. It's like the difference between trying to figure out how a complex machine works by taking it apart, discovered knowledge, versus getting the instruction manual from the manufacturer, revealed knowledge. Both approaches have value, but the manual is going to be more accurate and complete. The Bhagavad Gita as the ultimate instruction manual. From the Vedic perspective, the Bhagavad Gita represents the ultimate instruction manual for human life. It's not considered a human creation or philosophical speculation, but rather a direct conversation between Prince Arjuna and Krishna, who is understood to be the supreme divine person. This divine origin makes all the difference. Just as you wouldn't expect a computer manual written by someone who's never seen a computer to be very helpful, spiritual guidance from someone who hasn't realized spiritual truth is going to be limited. The non-interpretation principle. Here's where it gets interesting. The Bhagavad Gita comes with explicit instructions not to interpret, modify, or improve its message. It's meant to be accepted, as it is, the way you'd follow a recipe exactly if you wanted to get the intended result. Many people try to twist spiritual teachings to fit their preconceived notions or current lifestyle preferences. It's like trying to modify a medical prescription because you don't like the taste. you might feel better about taking it, but you won't get the healing effects. The text warns that interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to personal whims is the greatest offense, because it defeats the entire purpose of receiving perfect knowledge from a perfect source. The role of the spiritual guide. Both Max Lucado's Christian approach and the Bhagavad Gita's wisdom emphasize that you need proper guidance to understand spiritual truth. You can't just read scripture in isolation and expect to get the full benefit. You need someone who has actually realized these truths to help you understand and apply them. What makes a qualified guide? According to the Bhagavad Gita, a genuine spiritual teacher must have certain qualifications. They must be part of an authentic disciplic succession, not self-appointed. They must have practical realization, not just academic knowledge. They must be completely devoted to the Supreme, not using spirituality for personal gain. They must present the teachings without personal modification. The text makes it clear that spiritual realization can't be achieved by manufacturing your own process, or through mental speculation and dry arguments. It requires guidance from someone who has walked the path successfully. The importance of humility. Here's something that challenges our modern, I can figure it out myself, mentality. The Bhagavad Gita says that to receive authentic spiritual knowledge, you need to approach a qualified teacher with genuine humility. Asking sincere questions and offering service rather than just demanding answers. This isn't about blind following, you're encouraged to ask questions and seek clear understanding. But it's about recognizing that if someone has something you want, spiritual realization, you need to be willing to learn from them rather than arguing with them. The ultimate replanting tool, transcendental sound. Now we come to perhaps the most practical and powerful replanting technique offered by the Vedic tradition, the use of transcendental sound, specifically the chanting of sacred names like the Hare Krishna mantra. Why sound is so powerful? Sound has a unique ability to bypass our mental filters and directly affect our consciousness. Think about how a certain song can instantly transport you to a different emotional state, or how harsh words can wound you even years later. The Bhagavad Gita explains that transcendental sound, names of the divine, has special properties. Unlike material sound, which is different from the object it represents, the word, water, won't quench your thirst, spiritual sound is non-different from the spiritual reality it represents. This means that when you chant, Hare Krishna, you're not just making noise or thinking about God, you're actually making direct contact with the divine presence through sound. The Hare Krishna mantra, ancient technology for modern minds. The specific mantra recommended for our current age is, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Don't let the Sanskrit put you off. Think of it like a spiritual technology that works regardless of your cultural background or current beliefs. Just as you don't need to understand electricity to flip a light switch, you don't need to understand all the theological implications to experience the benefits of chanting. Why this method is perfect for modern life. The Bhagavad Gita acknowledges that traditional meditation practices, like sitting in perfect posture for hours in complete silence, are nearly impossible for most people today. Our lives are too busy, our minds too agitated, and our environment too distracting. Chanting, however, can be done anywhere, anytime. While walking or exercising. During commutes. While doing household chores. Even silently in meetings or crowded places. It engages your tongue, ears, and mind simultaneously, giving your restless mind something positive to focus on instead of trying to force it to be empty. The practical benefits of transcendental sound. The Bhagavad Gita describes numerous benefits from regular chanting practice. Mental purification. Chanting acts like a spiritual detox, gradually removing the accumulated mental toxins from years of negative thinking, fear, and material anxiety. It's like having a daily shower for your consciousness. Direct spiritual connection. Unlike prayers where you're talking to God, chanting creates a direct experience of divine presence. Many practitioners describe feeling immediate peace, joy, or a sense of connection even from their first attempts. Overcoming fear. The text specifically mentions that this practice helps overcome all types of fear. When you're connected to the infinite source of all power and love, what is there to be afraid of? Superior engagement. Rather than trying to control your mind by force, which rarely works, chanting gives your mind something so satisfying to do that it naturally loses interest in chaotic, destructive thinking patterns. Universal accessibility. Unlike some spiritual practices that require specific qualifications or life circumstances, chanting is available to everyone regardless of background, education, age, or current spiritual condition. Making it practical. Start simple. You don't need to chant for hours to begin experiencing benefits. Start with just a few minutes a day, perhaps while walking or before sleep. Use technology. There are apps and online recordings that can help you learn the proper pronunciation and rhythm. Many people find it easier to chant along with others rather than alone. Don't judge your mind. Your mind will wander, doubt, and resist. This is normal. The practice isn't about having perfect concentration from day one. It's about gradually training your consciousness through consistent, patient effort. Combined with other spiritual practices, chanting works beautifully alongside prayer, scripture study, church attendance, or other spiritual activities. It's not meant to replace your current spiritual life but to deepen it. The promise of transformation. Both Max Lucado's Christian approach and the Bhagavad Gita's ancient wisdom offer the same beautiful promise: you don't have to remain stuck in negative mental patterns. Through regular engagement with divine truth, whether through Christian scripture meditation or Vedic mantra chanting, your consciousness can be gradually purified and elevated. The key is consistency rather than intensity. Just as a small amount of medicine taken regularly can cure a disease, a small amount of spiritual practice done daily can transform your entire inner world. The ultimate goal. The ultimate goal isn't just mental peace, though that's a wonderful side effect. It's remembering and re-establishing your eternal relationship with the divine source of all love, wisdom, and happiness. When your consciousness is regularly watered with transcendental sound, spiritual understanding naturally grows, negative tendencies gradually fade away, and you begin to experience the joy and peace that are your birthright as a spiritual being. The garden of your mind can be transformed from a weed-infested wasteland into a beautiful sanctuary. The seeds of divine truth are available, the cultivation methods are proven, and the master gardener is ready to help. The question is, are you ready to begin planting?